Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to be alongside you this morning as we get set up for the Sunday edition. Not necessarily going over what we normally would on a Sunday morning. Kurt Levin's 9 things rather tame this morning, so not much to take away other than really combine that alongside with what we've seen the past 2 nights for the Edmonton Oilers at the Young Stars Classic in Penticton, and take a little discussion on what we've already talked about earlier in the off season and kind of parlay it into now a week out from training camp kind of deal, figuring out where we actually sit. So as it pertains to the Oilers prospect group, I think we've got a pretty solid couple of players, whether it be Lavoie, Broberg, Savoy, Grube. You've got Akey in there, Warner in there. You've got some guys in there that really look good. Bourgault obviously is a big name still within the Oilers prospect system, and we're looking for kind of all these guys to shake out and give us what they got. And this is kind of the situation we find ourselves in. We don't have spots for them, but we want to know we've got something in them because it's twofold. You either want to know you can fill roster spots down the line at the NHL level, or you want to be able to trade guys for bigger assets at this year's trade deadline, similar to what we did with Reed Schaefer this past year from Matthias Ekholm. So as we get set up, friends, you would know that the Oilers prospect group was ranked like almost dead last according to Daily Faceoff this offseason. I did that video when I was house sitting the last time, and it was I think it was a bad look for the Oilers. Obviously, you can argue the rankings however you want, but still one of those tough things. Then you show up to the Young Stars Classic in Penticton and you show up with a roster of mostly camp invites. The top 2 lines are guys that, yes, we have drafted, signed, or accumulated in some fashion. The defense, we've got, 2 prospects there, and we've got 1 goalie. So it's kind of tough for the Oilers at this point to sit there and say, man, our prospect depth is huge. Though they did not bring Raphael Lavoie to the Young Stars Classic, so that's a different thing. They didn't bring Philip Broberg there. Those guys are expected to be full-time NHLers this year, so not necessarily the need for them to be there as long as they excel in camp. But as it currently stands, I think everybody's big question mark is Xavier Bourgault. And what I came into this Young Stars Classic thinking is that he would come out and absolutely dominate. And Kurt Levins today kind of mentioned, yeah, he's looked good in assets of his game, but obviously hasn't dominated throughout, or else he'd have a little bit more than maybe an assist last night against Calgary. And I think our memories of how players dominate this tournament is kind of tainted a little bit because of what Dylan Holloway did for us last season. So I think we look forward to coming in here this year and seeing somebody like Bourgault or somebody like Savoy absolutely light it up. Petrov had a great game last night, but still not enough to really go out there and say, man, this guy is going to be something soon. And I mean, at the same rate too, though, if you did see that, I hope we'd have a little tempered expectations for the NHL lineup, because we got all very high on Dylan Holloway this year or last year, and then really it didn't pan out to be much of nothing. But I expect that Dylan Holloway will have a much better year this year, which should lead kind of the top end of the crop down throughout Broberg, Lavoie, and then you get into the guys in the AHL that are expected to be regular lineup producers at the minor pro level this season. So when it comes down to it, I think I'm not necessarily disappointed in the group of players we have, because for the Oilers, we've scored 6 goals in 2 games. That's not necessarily a bad clip at the Young Stars Classic, but you look at some of the other scores and it's like, yeah, I'd like to see the Oilers maybe light up this final game against the Vancouver Canucks, because at this point, right, you want to see our guys go out there and fill the net. You want to see our guys kind of dominate against our local group of teams in the NHL, that being Winnipeg, Calgary, and Vancouver. And so far, that just hasn't quite happened yet. So at some point, and you've only got 1 game left to do it, I'd like to see that happen on Monday. But as it currently stands, I don't think, similar to Kurt Levins, that the prospects are that bad off, because I haven't mentioned Beau Akey yet. Beau Akey has looked like the best player in this tournament for the Oilers by far. I think that's by design, though, by Colin Chalk and the Oilers coaching staff. They've gotten him a lot of minutes. I think it was prevalent against Calgary last night just how much time Beau Akey is spending on the ice here in these prospect games. And it just seemed like every time there was a zone or a puck retrieval in your own zone, or any time there was a play that had anything of substance, a keeping at the blue line in the Flames end, anything, Beau Akey was touching the puck. So I guess that's a good sign there as well. And he's kind of a guy who will be back at the Penticton Young Stars Classic next year, and then will kind of progress through the Oilers system rather slowly, kind of maybe filling in that Evan Bouchard role if anything comes of the next contract for Evan Bouchard. That's years down the road though still at this point, so let's not worry. But as it stands for the Oilers, that's just kind of my take right now, kind of building off of what Kurt Levens is saying. I don't think we're hurting as bad as it looks, but I also don't think that based on the results here, there's much to write home about yet from the Young Stars Classic in Penticton. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am up on out of here, but before I head out, if you would be so kind, if you're new to the channel, to consider hitting subscribe, that'd be great. It's free, unlike Oilers Plus. Had to get that in there one more time. Yes, I did watch on the Calgary Flames YouTube channel last night. Anyway, we'll catch you a little bit later. Thanks for tuning.